Thanks for joining me here at the shop. In this video and over the next few weeks, you're going to see me tackle a long-awaited project here at the house. It's going to be a beautiful wooden arch bridge, possibly with a handrail. I'm not sure yet. So come along to the backyard, let's take a look. Well, this is it. This is the Worksite. This used to be the site of our old family garden, which we've removed the fences, and is now a grassed area with our family Honeycrisp apple tree, 2 Japanese maple trees planted newly this year, and a difference in elevation. So we want to go from the higher elevation, which is about 16 inches, down to this level. We're going to do a 2x12 span arch bridge over the 2 levels, and we'll likely put a handrail on to complete the process. The first thing to do here was to get the lumber I selected for this project. These are 2x12 by 12 feet long. And so here what I'm hoping can happen is I can make a compass leading out of my garage, out to the board and draw the curve on it that way. I had to quickly abandon the idea of using a string because when I was making the radius, the string was just stretching and moving the marker all over the place. I opted for steel wire instead, which I was able to pull really tight on and it wouldn't give out on any type of arc. I'm often pondering my mistakes, but this one actually went pretty well. Here I'm setting up some skids so when I cut the radius, it doesn't cut into my workbench. Eyes and ears first. You wouldn't think a circular saw would be able to make the radius, but on a new battery, it really made short work of it. This is probably the most satisfying part, putting the cutout piece from the bottom directly on top to complete the arch. Here's another extremely good reason to have a vaulted ceiling in at least the back half of your shop. These 12-foot boards are really easy to turn around because of that. This is just using some woodworking glue to connect the joints. I'll later tack some screws in there for extra precaution, but oftentimes the glue is actually stronger than the screws. After using my favorite glue spreader, which is definitely just an old gift card or credit card, it's on to clamping, and I still don't seem to have enough of these. Doesn't matter how many I collect, it'll never be enough. So now I'll make another 4 of these, which I've already marked and traced with the original template on the workbench here, and that'll give me a total of 5 stringers. And then we can move on to some of the groundwork. Once I was happy with the glue line, I decided to move on and make the other 4 stringers. Again, there's another good reason to have that high roof, turning those boards around. Some of what you're seeing now is just the prep process for the other 4 stringers and cleanup. You'll see here I did make a decision to switch to a construction adhesive with PL Premium. Even though my wood glue is exterior rated, I wanted to make sure it had a great hold. Well, now that I have my 5 stringers laid out, my next step is to create an end cap with the same size board that I use for the stringers. Now before I screw on those end caps, there's going to be a little bit of math involved. I know the end cap is represented by 5 feet. And then I know I've got 5 stringers at 1.5 inches a piece for a total of 7.5 inches of space that I need to remove. So I subtract that from the 60, and that actually gives me 52.5, my open space. So then I divide that by 4, the 4 available spaces, it gives me 13.125. 1.25 0.125 being represented by 1/8 of an inch. So I'll put some spacer blocks in here for the perfect distance for my stringers, and they're going to be represented by 13 1/8 on the tape. Here I'll be using my mini corner clamps to make everything square. These are really small but mighty. I'm also going to pre-drill for some GRK fasteners. And in my opinion, this is the best deck screw you can have. It's got a T25 head, which allows the drill to stay within the head of the screw. And typically you don't need to pre-drill because these will self-tap right into the wood without any issues or splitting. Now coming up next is probably what I think to be the most important part of this build, and that's squaring up this whole frame. Normally on a small project I would just put a little clamp on corner to corner, but on something this side I'm going to have to use a strap. What I'm doing here is preparing the 16 blocks that will go in between the stringers to strengthen up everything. You can see off to the right I've set up a small stop block with some weight on it to make repeated cuts quite easy. Alright, this is looking good. I got the first 3 sets of blocks on either side, and now I'm just going to set the last stringer in. I'll drive home the last few blocks and be all done. Alright, well I finished the 2 end caps and the blocking in between, but as you can see, there's a lot of wobble and give through the center, so I'm going to have to do at least 2, if not 3 more sets of blocking offset, similar to stairs or a deck, to strengthen all this up. And then the top stair board should lock everything in tight. One thing I wanted to mention is that you can see, even just with 1 string of blocking, how strong this is. These were extremely wobbly before, so I'll put in 2 more rows of blocking, and then that'll really make the entire thing solid. And then I have the challenge of getting it down to the worksite. There you have it. This will be the final resting spot for the bridge, and what you can see is I've temporarily laid it ahead of the hill because my next steps will be to gouge out the side of the hill and reinforce it, probably with some 6x6s or some other dimensional lumber, and then I'll have to build another box to meet it parallel down here and backfill, likely with gravel. So the next steps will be to continue the blocking on both sides and then build the groundwork and go on to stain. Alright, well I was going to make this one long build video, but this weekend Hurricane Lee's coming, so I think we'll actually break this up into 3 videos where we've got the basic construction inside. The second video will be the completion of construction on the bridge, and then the third video will likely be the finishing and staining. So, see you then.